Fantastic day for us. Very exciting to be bringing back an iconic Australian brand in Ampol.
Well, I think you were at UWA at university when it was last Ampol.
Yes, I think that's right. Yeah, look, it's a brand that I think resonates with most Australians. Ampol's a brand that was renowned for high quality customer service, products that were made by Australians for Australian conditions, and a very deep connection to community. And I think that's why it resonates so strongly with our customers.
Look, and particularly now in the times of COVID-19, when I suppose this air of nationalism and supply chain insecurity is around.
I think there almost couldn't be a better time in terms of Australians wanting to support independent Australian companies and wanting to buy Australian. And we think there's huge value in the Ampol brand, and we're very excited to be bringing it back for our customers.
Yep. Your chairman talked about this brand rebranding as a big part of your future, the transition back to being company owned. In what way is this important, given that you could still be in play, couldn't you, as a target?
Yeah, I think what's important for us is to get on with life as an independent company. So whether Couche-Tard or any other company chooses to come forward, I think we assess that on its merits and we do the right thing by our shareholders. But for us, it's about getting on with life as an independent Australian company, and Ampol's a really important part of that.
Does it make it actually more attractive, though, do you think, in value terms, for a multinational to buy a brand that's uniquely Australian?
I think that's what we're going to see. What we're going to see is Ampol and the Ampol brand is something that really resonates with Australians, really resonates with our customers, and I think it better reflects who we are. We are a company with deep local heritage, and we're a company that has very strong roots to the community.
Now, of course, you've been incredibly busy as acting interim CEO with the due diligence. Couche-Tard in these times has walked away. Do you think they were disappointed?
Look, I think COVID-19 obviously interrupted and has been quite an unprecedented situation. I think both companies managed the due diligence process very professionally. Very hard to move forward with large transactions in a time of great uncertainty.
Of course, the other side of your business is just the ongoing operations, Matt, and while the first quarter was one thing, this current quarter has been quite a different story.
Yeah, so we have seen significant impacts for the business from COVID-19. So we've seen refining margins at very low levels, and so we've brought forward the turnaround and inspection program at our Lytton refinery. We've seen significant impacts in retail demand through both petrol and diesel volumes, and we've seen our aviation business obviously down 80 to 90%. So significant impacts, and against that we've had to make some significant decisions to take cost out of the business.
Right. So the big question is, I guess, has this changed life for Ampol forever? In other words, will Lytton coming back online really be in sort of September, October? And indeed, will the amount of jet fuel that you end up producing really be back to previous levels?
Yeah, so I think one of the big advantages that we have is that we enter the crisis with a very strong balance sheet. And that means that we need to respond, as we are, very decisively to take actions, to take cost out of the business, to reduce our capital spend to critical only, and to bring forward the Lytton maintenance shut to coincide with a period of low margins. But the strong balance sheet means that we need to make sure we're not cutting into the bone, and we will take the decisions that are important to reposition Ampol to add value for shareholders in the years ahead. Our number one objective is the safety of our people and our customers through this, and maintaining business continuity. Clearly we need to address the financial challenge that COVID-19 presents, and so we're making adjustments to our operating model as we need to, but we're working very closely with our people as we're making those.
Have you had to let a lot of people go?
We have had to make adjustments to our labour model. In retail, we've needed to adjust our staffing levels by 15 to 20% to coincide with or match the levels of demand destruction that we're seeing. Clearly there have been impacts at the refinery as we've adjusted our approach to the T&I and the aviation business, with volume down 80 to 90%. Clearly there have been implications from that.
Have you been able to use JobKeeper at all?
So we're still assessing our eligibility for JobKeeper. We think it's an important program, but we're still working through our eligibility.
Right. Now, one for the punters, of course, low oil prices. But, you know, at these Ampol outlets now, prices are still incredibly high. Why haven't they been able to come down with oil?
Yeah, so prices have come down very heavily since the start of the year. So,
but nothing like oil prices.
Our customers have benefited. I think when you look at the cost base of a retail site, clearly the crude oil price is an important part of it. The logistic costs are another part of it, and then there's a significant fixed cost base in a retail site. And so when you see the sorts of demand destruction that we've seen, 30 to 50% on petrol, 10 to 30% on diesel, and recently it's been at the upper end of those ranges, then the sites do need to be able to make cash to be able to stay alive, and I think that's what you're seeing.
Is there anything that you can do in that the economy is trying to crank up, we're trying to encourage people to get back on the roads again with the pricing strategy?
Yeah, so we're playing our role as an essential service, so we are doing our best to keep our sites open during a period of significant demand destruction. I think that's the balance we need to strike, because we need to take cost out of our business and be as efficient as we can be so that value can be passed on to customers.
Matt, the other really interesting discussion going on at the moment is about our own fuel security. The government has taken some moves here to store fuel in the US. What sort of conversations are you having with government now about storage here?
Yeah, so we're having very active conversations with government on the impact of COVID-19 on our business. I think it makes a lot of sense for the government to take advantage of record low oil prices to build a strategic fuel reserve. We don't see a fuel security issue in the market. We see the market very well supplied, and we diversify our supply chains to make sure that the markets are well supplied. But as the government thinks about storage and thinks about a national fuel reserve onshore, we are clearly very well placed as an Australian company with the capability and the asset base to play an important role, and so we'll continue to have those conversations.
Were the government to move in that direction, what sort of capabilities and assets do you have for that?
So I think we've got capability as an independent Australian company right across the value chain. So we have our Ampol Singapore team that does all the trading and shipping, the procurement of both crude and product. We have a very strong asset base and infrastructure base spread right around the country. And we have,
in terms of a network?
In terms of a network and in terms of tankage. So we're very well placed to be able to have a conversation with government and look at how we can play our role in addressing the issue from their perspective.
If the government chose to store, say, as much as it's storing at the moment in the United States, new storage here in Australia, would that require significant new build of storage?
Yeah, I think it would. If the government is committed to increasing its level of storage onshore, that will require a significant tankage build onshore.
Personally, you've really only been at Ampol how long?
Just over a year.
Just over a year. I mean, this has been a meteoric rise and move for you acting here. Personally, how are you absorbing all this and managing it all?
Yeah, look, I think it's a challenging situation to manage through. I think it's very exciting, though, at the same time, to be part of the relaunch of what is a really iconic Australian company. I think it's a company with great people, it has great culture, it has a great opportunity in front of us, and I think the Ampol rebrand is a really exciting reinvigoration of how we position ourselves externally to our customers that will really resonate, as well as internally for people to feel really proud about working for an independent Australian company.
Matt Halliday, great to talk. Thanks.
Thanks, Tikki.